Good afternoon. My name is Achim Mohné. I try to speak in English, although it's not my native tongue, but I was asked to, and I hope it will work. I will go along a little bit with my papers, because otherwise I might get lost. I'm talking today about a project called REMOTEWORDS I'm doing with Uta Kopp from Cologne since 2007. The project is a long-term artistic project that disseminates messages on roofs via and are disseminated via virtual globes such as Google Earth. The messages are permanently applied on the roofs in form of capital letters. Maybe we can compare these letters here, but they are much bigger, but we can imagine it like this. Conceptually, the location and the message represent a semantic unit. The project itself is be seen as an interdisciplinary collaboration between the fields of art, literature, science, communication, internet, design, and photography. We follow the tradition of land art, which in the 1960s went and tried to escape the galleries and the museums to work in the nature itself. In this project, we work with a new perspective and a new medium. The bird's eye view gives us new possibilities and is very fascinating. For example, for tourists who inform themselves about new clean beaches, or for criminals who scout out the fastest way after breaking into a house. Virtual globes are, above all, a purposeful tool developed for the need of our mobile society. REMOTEWORDS tries to bring actual places and virtual places together, compare them, and contrast them. Thanks to the digital globes, we have a new public space, and former intimate spheres are suddenly infringed. For example, our private gardens, who are all of a sudden public from the air. Not Big Brother is watching us, but Google. And we try to venture a reflective look back. We send messages back on the same channel, watching us. We see the surface of the earth as a medium, like South America's Nazca drawings were messages thousands of years ago to the god. They were intended to send rain. Our messages oscillate between poetry and political statements, depending on the place and the author. So virtual globes create a new artificialness, a new semantic for portraying the landscape. There was landscape painting, there was landscape photography, and now we have landscape simulation. So I think it's important not to forget that Google Earth is above all a fun game, just a sexy computer game, a simulation that makes us feel like an astronaut or a pilot. Without this fun factor, those systems wouldn't have been so successful. REMOTEWORDS broadcasts messages worldwide, maybe just like Twitter. However, these messages are analog and, paradoxically, not accessible at the site where they are initiated. They get visible when they transfer from analog to digital. The text itself is an image in form of an aerial photo. The messages are thus secret sleepers. Once they have stolen themselves onto the virtual globe, they resist censorship where they are initiated, at the place where they are initiated. A message on a roof in Syria, for example, can be removed at the place, but like an unwished graffiti or political billboard or poster, but it continues to remain in the digital system once it is updated there. So, and from now on, the system operators themselves can exercise censorship. Above all, Google, because of its controversial politics the last years, cannot afford censorship anymore. Furthermore, there are other providers like Apple Maps, NASA Worldwing, Bing Maps, and many more. So the idea of REMOTEWORDS is to trying is to try to scratch at the Achilles ferse, the Achilles heel of the giants, trying to show that communication systems, communication giants like Google, which can hardly be heard by a digital hacking, might be reached by an analog low-tech. There seems to be an analog security system inside Google's system that the digital security police might have overseen. Remote words sees itself as a parasitic strategy that abuses an available commercial communication system in an artistic way. We feel like little ticks who bite themselves into the system and try to stay as long as possible. The basic idea of remote words is a navigation system as a potential medium for democratic communication. In contrast to Twitter, remote words messages are not simultaneously. They are time delayed. They are even very time delayed because Google needs up to 5 years now to update their photographs. For example, the shopping center right beside us is still a parking garage on Google Earth, although it's already in business since 2010. So it's funny, but these digital globes are almost historical testimonies. Simultaneousness, which is quasi a synonym for digitality, is here only faint. The short messages resemble more the temporality of a pre-industrial communication media. For instance, a letter from Europe to America took half a year, 100 years ago. But this decolonization that we have in our project between sending and receiving has one advantage, and this is sustainability. Remote words, in contrast to Facebook's, are not light speed status announcement. What we try is to develop texts that are short and sweet as possible and are meant to produce the greatest amount of content. Whereby the concept of the semantic link between sight and the words is crucial. No message should be interchangeable. It is strictly linked to the function of the history of the building or its immediate vicinity. For example, some authors. We have invited international authors to develop the messages, like Klaus Steck, artist and president of the Academy of Media Art in Berlin, who became known in the 1970s for his political posters and billboards. The message he developed was off limits for Google. It was put on one of the most watched over squares in all of Germany, directly at the Pariser Platz opposite of Brandenburger Tor. Another example is Nick Mlongo, South African author and victim of apartheid, reminds us with that Maboneng, which is Zulu and means place of light, was used as a nickname for Johannesburg only by black people. Only black people were those who had a longing for that place, Johannesburg, because there was electricity and they were looking at the place of light, themselves sitting in the dark. For the town of Dienstlaken, with its 25% unemployment figure, Berlin author Tanja Dickers developed What Remains is the Future on an old coal mine, showing that the structural transformation of the Ruhr's industrial heartland was not only for winners, but had many losers also. Where we are sitting here now, the Unperfect House, is inscribed with quotation mark equals CTRL. The exclamation point and the mathematical equal sign we took in collaboration with Reinhard Wiesemann from Linux computer language. The Linux language itself is already a synonym for freedom. But what it means altogether is no control, And for me, the Unperfect House is generally a house that is uncontrolled. In my eyes, a social utopia. Roughly along the lines of the motto in German, Kontrolle ist gut, Vertrauen ist besser. Control is good, Vertrauen. Control is good, trust is better, to tear it down. We have done 22 institutions now in 3 continents, and we hope to do more in the future. Furthermore, to use the system in order to undermine the system and to enrich creative communication in a non-commercial way. And this is significant not only within the project. We see that Messages on Roof will find more audience in the future. This is especially valid and useful for undemocratic countries where the internet police filters all out what they don't want to hear, as it is the case, for example, in Russia or China. So it is our dream to use this medium, the digital globe, furthermore democratically. And we hope that our idea catches on, maybe in the future in a collaboration with one of you. Therefore, we do invite everyone in the audience to contact us, maybe for a possible collaboration. Thank you very much.